Alright, this is a video on how to field dress a Furby. I looked and there wasn't a lot of information out there, and if you're a Furby hunter like I am, it's pretty important to know what to do with your catch once you get it. And this one was a relatively rare catch, it seems. It one was a limited edition of some kind. Yes, sadly it was still a little alive. But sadly, we have to field dress this Furby. You first start with your field dressing your Furby by looking at this little spot back here. Right there's a little plastic tabs. What you're going to want to have, a pair of wire clippers handy for this part. Go ahead and snip back here. Oh yes. Alright, what you're going to find, it's called the Furby wishbone. And this gets pulled out just like that. And that's a part that can't be used at all. Alright, the second part, we're going to pelt the Furby. The Furby is relatively easy to pelt. Some people like to harness it with a vehicle, and the vehicle typically takes care of the skinning part of it, but this is easy enough for you to do yourself. Alright, Coco. Yes, that feels good. Alright. This kind of comes off like a sock, just like that. Alright. Now right when you get up towards the face, some Furbies will have a screw located right here and right here. What you want to do is, once those screws are removed, is find this tab and pull up just like that. And peel up. Alright, now the Furby is almost skinned at this point. A little piece of adhesive right here that needs to be contended with under each of the ears. Now when you get to the ears, you're going to notice that there's some securing points about right here. There's little threads right there. This is where you're going to want to get your wire cutters. Clip accordingly. Making sure not to get any of that nasty Furby blood all over you, especially when they're still somewhat alive and kicking. Alright, and there you have your fine Furby pelt. Fit enough to put on your wall or to turn into a set of earmuffs. We'll go ahead and let that hang out and dry. And now we'll continue with the dispatching of the Furby proper. Now this one had a slight medical problem when I found it, which is why it was a mercy killing. This is probably a part that you already know, but this will make it easier to talk. Alright, once the guts of the Furby are taken out, it will no longer function. Alright. Surprise! Okay. There's some screws on the back, which a small screwdriver will accomplish in taking out, depending on what species of Furby that you're hunting. This might vary a little bit. Smaller Furbies sometimes have less screws. Larger Furbies sometimes have more. I found that the larger Furbies are a lot easier to deal with this on, especially if you have big hands at all, and if you're a good hunter willing to provide for your family or your project at all. You're going to need to learn how to work with both appropriately. Now I'm just going to let the screws fall out because I'm a complete slob, and I don't really care about the screws because I don't intend on putting them back in ever. Yeah, this is the point of the video where it gets sadly slightly boring. I don't have any jokes to tell because it's not really funny. Do you think anybody that would do this is funny? I don't think so. Some sick people in this world. But I'm not one of them. I'm hungry for projects. And therefore, it's either me or the Furby. Alright, the last screw is usually the one that's at the top of the head that's right up here. This one can be sometimes a pain to get into. Sometimes you'll find that a larger screwdriver actually is needed to get this particular screw out, but on this particular one it's really not that bad. Alright, and here what you're going to have to do is be a little careful because sometimes parts tend to fall out. A little bit of natural ligaments keeping the place and keeping the halves in part. Here's the more Furby bones. This is the Furby endo exoskeleton. Halves just like that. If you wish to keep the screws, don't be like me and be a slob. Alright, now here we have your field dressed Furby. In this case, this one has a few different components that might make for some good project eating and whatnot. We can go ahead and save this one further in case we want to do any further mounting, or if you're really gourmet like the Eskimos are, you hear that Furby eyes and berries are a good treat when you're up north Furby hunter. And beyond that, that's how you field dress a Furby. You can see some of the electronic components that make up the Furby, some of the gears that make things actuate and allow your children to have fun until they decide to take it apart. Alright, so that's how you field dress a Furby. Appreciate you watching the video, and I hope we learned a lot today. Thank you.